Hello friends, family and other creatures of the sea, and welcome back to a best of 3 from the Korean StarCraft League. Today we have here in the bottom left spawning as our red Terran playing for Team Shopify Rebellion, Byun, and in the top right as our blue Zerg playing, of course, for Team Talon Esports. It's going to be Dark. A Zerg versus Terran, perhaps the greatest matchup to have ever graced this game with two phenomenal players. I believe Dark is currently, I want to say he's rank 5 or 6 on the Elite Luck ranking, and Byun is currently rank 7. That means they're very close in skill, or at least they're very close in ranking. Sometimes a closeness in ranking or proximity in ranking doesn't necessarily mean they're equal in skill as well, but I think when it comes to these guys, they tend to trade games. They're very close to one another in whenever they play against one another, to be honest. I'm curious to see how Dark is going to be doing it. We've seen a lot of different styles out of this guy. Very often, well, a lot of different styles. Yeah, actually we have. But also a lot of different openers. He seems very keen on opening without gases. He is actually the only Zerg that this consistently opens up without taking a gas. And that makes him vulnerable for early game shenanigans. But it also means that if he doesn't take any damage against the early game shenanigans, that his eco is significantly better. What does it mean to be without gas? It means that you have one worker in the extractor that you're not going to lose, and 3 workers that usually would be mining minerals that are now mining gas. So there's really 4 workers that are not mining minerals. 1 worker is going to be permanent because it's in the extractor. The only resource that matters when we think about economy is minerals. Everything that builds economy costs minerals. Queens builds economy, hatcheries increase economy, drones increase economy, overlords, they increase the amount of money that you can get, extractors, all of that is just minerals, minerals, minerals. If you want a good eco, you want to get as many minerals as early as possible. And the reason why you get gas is very often just for defensive timings, or if you want to do something aggressive. It's the tech resource, it's the get powerful units resource, it's for upgrades and all of that good stuff. We see Dark here opening up with just a couple of slow links and might end up losing that drone. No, it's going to keep it alive. Queen on the low ground is about to finish up soon as this drone is going to cancel the spore it was building. There is a gas on the way now, but it is very late. We're not going to have this fast gas. Byun should be aware of this because he has a Reaper, and with a Reaper, you're capable of scouting the timing on the third. This fast of a third is not viable if you have an early gas. You simply do not have the money for it. We also see a quick Roach Warren here coming in for Dark. I wonder if this is a safety Roach Warren. I think it is. I don't think you can open up gasless and then go into some aggressive Roach play. So Dark so far hasn't really taken any damage. He's now already going to build a single Roach. This could also be for a fake all-in. Like, if you show 2-3 Roaches here to the Reaper, I really wonder what Byun's response is going to be. And on top of that, let's not forget, this is a map where the gold is a very serious option for the Terran. You can park 3 Roaches in this area, you can deny a little bit of mining. It can be pretty tricky to deal with. So, I'm not even sure if you're Dark here, if you even want to hide the fact that you're building Roaches. I think you might actually want to oversell the fact that you're building Roaches. Because otherwise, Byun's going to scout, you know, these 2 drones popping. It's like, wait a second, you're still building drones? I don't have to be afraid of anything. I don't need to build a bunker. I don't need to get a quick tank out, or I don't need to, you know, cut anything here. As the first Roach does arrive, it's going to deny quite a bit of mining here on the gold. Reaper stays alive for now, so this is a 3 Roach rush. It should be enough to one-shot SCVs. 3 Overlords on the way behind all of this. It is 36 workers to 34. We have now a Ravager coming in. Ooh, these Marines though, they're on the warpath. There's no stim done quite yet. Dark is aware of these bad boys moving out. And he's just going to try to fight them here a little bit. Taking quite a bit of damage here on one of these Roaches. Okay, Ravager's going to finish up. I actually think that Byun's okay with that thing finishing up because he's going to try to snipe it now. Oh, that Ravager managed to escape. Good control here out of Dark, who's microing these Ravagers very effectively. Oh, here comes the stim though. That's going to be -1 Ravager, perhaps even -2. Stim still active. And here goes the second Ravager. 2 Ravagers and a Roach go down. Resources lost. It's about 600 resources to 300. Efficient trade here for Byun. Did have to stim once and took a lot of damage on a bunch of these bad boys. 55 drones behind this for Dark. Is it enough? Can he hold? That's going to be the first question. Can he defend this initial attack? And the second question that we're going to be asking is his tech, is his eco good enough? Did he deal enough damage with these early 3 roaches? Did it cut into his eco just a little bit? Did it cut enough into his opponent's eco? Can you justify the cost? And I'm not so sure if we can. Gotta get a snipe here on an Overlord. It's gonna be frustrating because it's going to supply block Dark even further. We now have 6 Overlords on the way. That's 600 minerals that he can be spending on anything else. Queens are out of position. Here come the roaches. Gonna try to defend, but there's actually so many Marines that just these roaches is not quite going to be good enough. Byun with a lot of damage here in the early game. Dark finds himself in the awkward position where he wanted to have some units in the main. Now is walking them downstairs, and then, I mean, you're gonna have to deal with this. Dark knew this, he was prepared for it, but because there were not enough roaches on the low ground, pulled the queens downstairs and didn't really have an answer for this play. We'll just need to pull away those drones. It's gonna keep majority of them alive, ends up sniping 1 medevac. Honestly, a pretty okay defense given how bad the situation was looking just 20 seconds ago. We now have 93 supply to 77. However, 0 upgrades here for Dark. Dark does have a fort base that is now finished. Dark is going into lair. Actually, his lair is done already. It's gonna get the Glial Reconstitution. Single drop still active. Is Byun going to be capable of microing this drop effectively? Can he get some damage done with it? What do we have in the main base? It's just 2 queens. I don't think that's going to be enough. Oh, we have a high ground assault here. It's gonna get 2, 3, maybe even 4 workers. Just gonna be 3. Now 3 queens are moving in position as well. This medevac is fairly empty. Extractor will get targeted down. I don't think there's anything Dark can do about that. More roaches now hitting this gold base. There is, however, 2 tanks in position already to deal with this, and just a single SCV will end up dying. Of course, multiple battles can still be used. 2 queens end up falling here as well, but medevac has also gone down. That means that these Marines are about to get taken out. How much damage will they still be capable of dealing? It's going to be 4 drones. Maybe get this queen. No, they won't get this queen. Overall, a very interesting game in which I think Byun has taken a pretty sizable lead, I would call this. This is indeed a pretty sizable lead. What are we at barracks-wise? We have 5 barracks. We have 1-1 upgrades that are much quicker than our opponents. We have a decent Marine count. We have a good tank count at 4. I don't really see Byun dying. And I also don't really see Dark having any type of control on the map in the next 2-3 minutes. And Byun is going to be the one that will be kind of just deciding how this game will go from here on out. He'll be the one in charge. When the battles will be, where the battles will be. I mean, Dark can also make a decision, but walking into a multi-tank is not a decision that I would, at this point in time, endorse. 5th base is gonna get cancelled there. Dark once again struggling with these supply blocks. 128 out of 128 is really not correct. We saw him build 6 Overlords earlier in this game already. And now once more, he was in a weird situation where he supply blocked. It's not the end of the world if you are already at the worker count where you want to be. Usually I'd look at a Zerg player and say, oh, only 69 or 70 workers. That is not a great number of workers. But Dark has shown in the past that he's completely fine with these low drone counts in Zerg versus Terran. Instead focusing on getting very good fights with these Roach, Hydra, Viper armies, eventually into Lurkers, or sometimes not fighting at all and still getting a bank while you are on a relatively low worker count. We did see him add a couple of workers at this point. It's going up to 78. A lot of other Zergs, we'd be seeing 86, 87, 91, 92. These are not weird numbers for a Zerg player to be at. It is 78. That is the odd duck in the pond here. As we have 4 base versus 4 base. Byun, as of late, has been loving building orbital commands on his fort location rather than adding a planetary there. So I do wonder if that's going to be the case here, or because this base is fairly vulnerable, he's still going to morph it into a planetary. This is a gnarly position for Dark to break. There's no flank possibility. Here we go. It's going to come in from 2 sides. These tanks are not under heavy fire, and all 4 of them are shooting consistently. We see Dark falling in supply rapidly, losing a couple of workers here. It's going to end up losing this fort base. 76 workers is nice if you have the bases to mine from at that point. You already see serious oversaturation here in the main. If this bad boy goes down, there's going to be even more serious oversaturation absolutely everywhere. We have 2 Vipers on the way, but Dark will not be capable of holding on. I'm expecting a base, yep, to go down over here. We see it start, but phenomenal stuff here for Byun. ideally wants to get these tanks back home. It's just gonna leave him here to die. Not the biggest fan of that decision, but not sure how impactful it really is going to be either. He has 4 tanks. Ideally, you keep him alive. He could have lifted them into the medevacs, gotten at least a couple home. It's not what he tried doing, just left them to die. Sensor tower here with that long range is going to provide quite a bit of vision for Byun. Dark with the late lurker then as well. Like, he teched into Hive relatively quickly, but then didn't have the mental space, or perhaps even just the actual straight up resources to do anything there with the Hive. And only now we see the Vipers coming into play, just 2 of them. Lurker then, but don't forget, we're still going to need Seismic Spines for them to be effective, and then Adaptive Talent for them to be capable of burrowing at a high pace as the second sensor tower comes out. After playing a lot of patch games, these old sensor towers look really ridiculous, and how large they are. Absolutely surreal how much range these bad boys have. As the Marine Marauder Force ends up moving forward, we have 3-3 upgrades now coming up as an SCV is stuck dancing with the Armory and the eBay. You can make a decision between the two. You just keep switching at a rapid pace. Medevac count is relatively low here, 4 in total. Stims need to be used conservatively as a result. Creep has pretty much disappeared from the map as well. As the first few ghosts are now entering the field. And usually when these bad boys have entered and there's no lurkers out whatsoever with Seismic Spines, that is going to be an issue here for the Zerg. More creep tumors being destroyed. Flank setup is being created here. 2 Vipers want to come in from the side. Blinding Cloud hits in the middle of this army. Second Blinding Cloud hits as well. We have 1 more Blinding Cloud and a lot of these tanks are being disabled. This is a god-awful fight for Byun, but probably still good enough as he just has too much crap here. Tanks in the back now active again. This was really as good as it was gonna get for Dark. He hit all of his Blinding Clouds. He had a nice concave. Byun really did an awful job in that fight. But if the job is this easy, it doesn't really seem to matter. His lead is big enough, and Dark struggling to make a comeback here in this game. I don't quite think he's going to succeed. We still have a lot of snipes available here as well. We have that the double tanks here in the back line too. So you have a little bit of a sustain in this push. A bit of a, spine that is difficult to break. Hydras are now going to try to snipe it, but that's going to cost him a couple of Hydras. So yes, you get 2 tanks, lose 3-4 Hydras, maybe even 5. Actually, that fight went better for Dark than I had anticipated, but definitely not good enough. We have more units now moving, I think, towards the bottom side. This army is still well alive, and outside of lurker range, these Hydras have no business chasing. A bunch of drones here are going to end up falling. 3-3 is over halfway done now as well. So that kind of adds another timer that Dark has to fight against. GG gets called Byun. It's game number 1 with an impressive performance on Dynasty. After such a kind of a dominant win there for Byun, I always feel like that Dark is gonna play, I don't want to say more serious, but a more standard opener a lot of the time. As in, I don't think he's gonna try a little bit of a roach rush. This is, of course, also a better map in general for Dark already. Dynasty is one of the maps that a lot of Zerg struggle hard with. Okay, yeah, we're even going to see a gas here as a start. It's like, okay, that was fun, but my first 7-8 minutes just weren't good enough. And from there on out, I'm pretty much dead. I took some good fights. However, I believe that if I can get myself into a decent position in the early game, I can win. And honestly, I'm completely with Dark there. It is very rare to see Dark give away a lead. The thing that Dark does best is make comebacks into the game, and he's extremely powerful when he's in a lead in the early game. I think his unit control is so freaking sick. Like the way he engages, he often does it on low worker count, which means his army is actually quite sizable as well compared to other Zergs. So yeah, I'm curious to see how he's going to approach the rest of this series. For now, just a HarstemCasts pool, where for other players this wouldn't be crazy. For Dark, I mean, he is a little bit different. He does like opening up with that fast third hatch with the gasless opener. Byun Reaper first into that factory. I'm expecting to see a second gas. He's been very keen on second gas build orders for an extremely long time. He's not one of the guys that says, hey, I want a triple CC every single game. Like, I think we see Clem do a fair amount of of his games. And as I say it, of course, he's not taking a second gas. Love to see it. Solid calls all around. Reaper's just going to micro against these links a little bit. We'll get 1 link most likely. If he commits, I still think he's going to get 1 link. I'd be shocked if he doesn't. He doesn't. Well, I'm shocked then. Third CC comes down for Byun, so a double shock. It's going to be that triple CC opener. I want to see what his follow-up is going to be here as well. I'm always afraid for people when they go into such a standard setup against Dark. It almost never ends well for them. Against Dark, you really need to... Your first 7 minutes just need to be solid. They need to be so freaking good, because that's where Dark is going to be making some mistakes. That's where he's going to be getting supply blocked a little bit. We'll see him build 8 Overlords at the same time or something. And is where we'll see him, lose a bunch of workers or over-defend against a particular threat. It's very frequently the case when you watch Dark play that he makes mistakes in the first 6-7 minutes. If you can't force him, you're just going to be in some trouble. Reaper goes down. Creep Tumor doesn't get sniped. Bad start here for Byun, who loses his control of the map. He's now going to get 2 Hellions out and about as well. Let's see what we can do with that. For now, just keeping those at home. Okay, just going to first person for Byun a little bit. See what he's up to. Switching his camera around pretty quickly. So we have the Banshee first. Hit the lack of gas. I'm not even sure if we're gonna get Cloak here or just straight into Stim. Yes, it's gonna be straight Stim. So this could be single Banshee without Cloak. You still have to respect it as Dark the moment you see the Banshee. Like, you're still gonna be forced into the spores. Of course, you are lacking a little bit of punch with just a single Banshee. Double gas is coming down on the side of Dark, as you can see in the production tab, and this is not gonna get scouted. Gonna be 6 Hellion, I think this is, right? Yeah, 6 Hellion into 2 more barracks. Very conservative play here for Byun. Nothing weird going on right now. Let's see. Ooh, look at that. Neat split. 2 in the middle, 4 on the top. Preparing for a potential Ling run by. It's not gonna come. Dark here is... I don't want to call this greedy necessarily. Because I think he can hold everything with it. But, he's we see a fair amount of interest here in money on the side of Dark, okay? He rather has more money than less this game. Managed to defend this with just 9 links. Is already at 54 workers, 5 minutes into the game. Double Evo's coming down, Bailing Nest as well on the way, and Lair has already finished up. So, really one of the better early games that I've seen Dark play. He's gonna walk into a supply block right about now. I hope he does realize soon, because I don't think he's done droning yet. You probably... If you have this type of early game, want to go up slightly higher, 68, 67, maybe even 74, 75. I've seen these types of drone numbers in the early game. Sadly for Dark, it's not going to be possible to rush there because he is just severely supply blocked at the moment. Really unfortunate for him. Bailing speed on the way, 1-1, infestation pit really quick as well. It's going to be double Banshee without Cloak. Yes, 2 drones have fallen already. These Hellions are looking for something too. 7 more drones now on the way. 9 more drones on the way. Okay, he wants to go to these low 70 numbers when it comes to the drones. Yeah, that supply block costing him quite a bit there. Absolutely. Lots of mining time lost on these drones. 1 Hellion's going to get knocked out. Byun's first 2 medevacs should be on the way out, but they're not. There's a serious delay here on those. Oh no. I'm not sure if Byun is forgetting them or what is happening here. Look at this, he's gonna go up to 82 workers. 6 minutes and 30 seconds in. That is shocking to me, that really is shocking to me. Hive coming out as well, Burrow. He's investing in everything except for units. Byun still is skipping out on the medevacs. I'm not going crazy, right? There's none. This is such an odd opener here out of Byun, who is getting everything except the units he needs to get active on the map. He was supply blocked for a serious amount of time as well here, but this is extremely late. A very poor start here. Absolute unforced errors coming out of the Korean Terran player. These 2 Banshees staying active on the right side, making sure no run-bys can hit him. And Dark could be, honestly, expanding to a 6th, a 7th, an 8th, and a 9th base. Hive is about to finish up, as we can see over here. We have Burrow about to finish as well. Like, he just has so many tools in his hands at this moment. I am just struggling to see how Dark is gonna die here or take any serious damage. This is too many Marines for the medevacs. We're what? This is like 20... How many? 4 Marines are in over here. 24 Marines. We have a bunch of Marines at home still. You're gonna need to leave a bunch behind if you're gonna pick up. It's gonna come in with just a single tank. I swear we had 2, right? Okay, it's gonna keep 1 tank at home. This is just a push that hits. It's so freaking late. Banelings are in position. I assume Dark is gonna come from 2 angles, as he usually does. Here we go, single tank. It's not gonna have the damage output. The target fire is not good enough. Couple of shots there on the Queens instead of on the Banes. An absolute wipe here. A one-sided battle in favor of the Zerg. Byun's 4th base will finish up. He has the extra barracks as well. Do we have a Ghost Academy? No, we don't. Do we have Drilling Claws? No, we don't either. This is what? 2 tanks into Drilling Claws. Loses 1 tank. I mean, the Ling Bane count is serious here. Once we get Adrenal Glands in 2-2, I'm not saying Dark can walk across the map and kill his opponent, but I've seen Dark do this type of move before, where he will just walk across the map and kill his opponent. Byun has had no pressure on his opponent this entire game. Like, Dark he's felt nothing. Absolutely nothing. Okay, now we go, loses 2 Banes. He can leave very little units behind to deal with this. There's only 1 active group on the map. These Lings are gonna catch some of them Marines out of position. Can Byun get back to the medevac? Snipes 3 Banelings there. Will lose the rest of his Marines, but this is a trade. I thought they were gonna die for free, but it ends up being an okay trade there for Byun. Sees a lot of Lings popping out right now. Double drops heading in towards the main base. We have a Spore in position to deal with this. Ooh, Byun, if you're not careful, you're gonna lose a medevac there. And even if you are careful, you might just end up losing a medevac. We have a couple of Marines being split off towards the top side. Mines are joining the battle as well. Still no Drilling Claws as we have triple CCs now coming in. And I'm curious to see how that's gonna come into play. He's rushing into the late game. I'm not so sure if Dark is going to allow that. Ultras are out. Chitinous Plating is done. Adrenal Glands is done. Really the only thing we're missing is Vipers. You have like 1 or 2 Vipers in the mix. I guess there's not even that many tanks, but Parasitic Bomb always useful, of course, against medevacs. How many medevacs do we have total? We only have 5. It's not a great number of medevacs either. Queens in the main, Spore over here. I think Dark's gonna go for it. He has 144 Lings right now. 2-3 Ultras. And a bunch of Banes with just a single tank. No mines in position, no Drilling Claws. This is going to be a very one-sided battle once more. The Banshees are definitely helping out. They're getting as many kills as they can because there's nothing here that shoots up. Baneling's going to connect with a lot of those Marines as well. But honestly, Anabolic Synthesis finishes up. I don't really see how Byun is planning on holding this. He's lost a lot of workers already. As Dark has breached the natural. GG's gonna get called and Dark ties up the series in an extremely one-sided game here on Alcyone. Game number 3 on site Delta. Ooh, this looks like it was a CC first here for Byun. It's one of the builds that it makes comebacks every couple of, I don't even want to say years, but months. We'll go months without seeing it. And then one guy will kind of bring it out again, and then the other Terrans will follow suit. Whenever we see this type of play out of Byun, Cure, Bunny, who I think are the main offenders of playing CC first, very frequently it will end up going into 2 base all-ins. Because the 2 base all-ins, they have a bit more power if they're off of CC first. I've seen this. I actually have seen this. I'm aware of it. And I'm very curious to see if that's going to be the case here for Byun. Byun opened up with Marine into very quick factory as well off of double gas. Pulled out of gas a little bit. Look at that. It's now going to rally back into it slowly but surely. Triple hatch coming out for Dark. Dark wishes he skipped the speed, by the way, or wishes he skipped the gas mine. And look at that. He scouted the CC first, and as a result is not getting fast speed, because you can completely skip it. I mean, there's really no threat of a Reaper early on. Yes, the Hellions are going to come out, but they're going to come out significantly later than usual. And you're going to have a higher queen count when they first arrive. So, yeah, he would have loved to play a hatch gasless this time. That's not at all what happened here. Double depots coming out of Byun. One on the high ground, one on the low ground. Gonna follow it up with, feels like Banshee to me. Something we have seen frequently in the past as well is a fusion core going down. We've seen double starport stuff as well. with double CC. But maybe not quite going to be the case. It's just going to be single Banshee, or sorry, double Banshee with cloak into a tech lab. Hatch is here. 4 queens out on the map. See what we're gonna do here, Mr. Byun. How active are you going to be with those Hellions? He's gonna catch 1 creep tumor for free. Sloppy play out of dark. Maybe did not know his timings quite as well as he should have. Still on the way. Ooh, oh no, I hate this. I hate this. It's an armory. It's going to be a 2-base Hellbat Banshee attack. Oh no. This is one of these builds. I think you have to be capable of doing them as a Terran to keep the Zerg honest. Because if not, then the Zergs can get away with a lot. But it often feels that these builds, they just don't do enough damage. They don't deal enough damage. You end up losing a lot of map control. And you end up forcing some units. It's so what? You've also invested a significant amount of cash into your own unit. It's going to be 8 Hellion, double Banshee. It's actually just going to hit with a single Banshee, I think. I would have loved to see 10 Hellion here. That's not what's happening. We have the extra barracks coming out. It's going into... I mean, this is... If this works, I'll be shocked. Gonna have no banelings for this. But there's no healing. There's no extra damage output. If the Banshee was here, I could see it maybe. It's going to need to try to keep this alive. This is a terrible fight here for Byun. This is a god-awful fight for Byun. Banshee, meanwhile, in the natural, tried killing a couple of drones. These drones are transferring. Lots of links are going down, so it's 550 to 400 lost. Banshee in the main base is actually gonna get a lot of damage. Spore completely out of position. Lots of mining time lost here. Byun's Hellbat attack didn't do a whole lot, but his Banshee is doing way more than it ever should have. Way more than it ever should have. This Spore is still completely out of position, and thus these drones are vulnerable. Byun's now gonna start attacking it. Hellbat's coming in from the north. And we have 6 queens in position to deal with it. If he gets 3 drones here, he's gonna be a lucky man. I don't even think he's gonna get 3 drones here. Meanwhile, Banshee in the natural as well is dealing some damage. Banshee in the main fell. Where's the pressure gonna be? Where's the follow-up pressure gonna be? When's it gonna hit? Please tell me. It's gonna be 45 seconds that the medevacs will finish up. Walk across the map another 20. I mean, we're a minute away from Byun dealing his next blow. And it's not gonna be a very rough blow. Yeah, I think this is a sign. This is absolutely a sign to show how bad this went for Byun. Whenever Zerg players feel comfortable enough to play double Evo Chamber into Spire, it means they are anticipating a big resource bank that they're capable of getting for themselves. And I think this is actually accurate here for Dark. I don't think Dark has to worry about really anything. He can go up to 76 workers and he can easily squash this first push. Byun is moving out on the map kind of preemptively. This might trick his opponent into building a lot of units. Or well, trick his opponent. This will force the opponent into building a lot of units a little bit earlier. But it also is a huge risk. If there's links out and a couple of banelings, you get these units caught, you're just dead. You have nothing. Dark might be forced into skipping Mutas for a little bit. That is a very big player. He's even going to be forced to cancel this base. This is a really nice move out of Byun, or at least the result so far is extremely nice. 1-1 is about to finish up, combat is about to finish up, and these medevacs, they're about to hit as well. So this push hit about 20-25 seconds faster than he theoretically would be allowed to be there, because, you know, he has no safety mechanism. He can't pull these back. He's now going very far forward. Oh, Byun, please be careful, my dear friend. Don't push it. Dark is actually floating a lot of cash. When I said banking a lot of money, I more meant to save up for Mutas, not floating it. He's gonna build 7 Mutas right now. This is pretty much all or nothing for Dark, this defense. I really didn't think it was gonna be this tight. I liked this early game. But Byun cancelling that base on the left, now supply blocking his opponent. Look at the amount of minerals that Dark has. It's going in for a Ling run-by. It's gonna force some of these links or these marines to stay on. This is a really bad trade here for Dark's gonna lose a bunch of the links. At the same time, Byun continues pushing in forward. 1700 minerals in the bank for Dark. There could have been a crap ton of links. Mutas coming in from the south side are gonna destroy these tanks, or at least one of these tanks is gonna end up falling. We need to be capable of spending the money, but because that hatch ended up going down and the injects probably weren't perfect, we just have so much cash in the bank. Banelings now rolling in forward. Are they gonna be capable of hitting these marines? The answer is kind of, but not good enough. Still a lot of cash in the bank here for Dark, who seemingly is just kind of dying against this random move out. Beautiful play. GG gets called. And I can't believe that. I actually can't believe that. This felt so good for Dark. This felt absolutely fine for Dark until this base died. He's just floating so much cash. Because this push hit earlier than I thought it could and earlier than Dark thought it could. I was like, okay, this is going to be quite delayed, but he went without the Medivacs. That is a serious risk, but it's a risk here that paid off because Dark couldn't spend his money anymore. He was relying on the larva, on that hatchery. I mean, in this case, he has to add some extra queens. He needs to spend this cash because he's just down so much supply because he's not spending it. And he goes for the Mutas. Stands up dying. Good play here out of Byun. He's going to win this series with a 2-1 score. Short, but sweet. And that's going to be it for me today. Thanks all so much for watching. Hope you did enjoy it. If you did, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. I'll see all of you next time for a new video. Bye bye.